Yeah, the only last
Bloody hell. Sounded a bit like me. Birdie, how are son?
How's the break then, Steve?
How's the bacon, did you say? How's the bacon? How's the break? It was good for some others. Unfortunately, I didn't quite get away because my wife's not very good. So, yeah, it was good. It was good timing for all of us, I think. Pity it was cut short a little bit, but look, we've had 5-6 days off, which refreshes anybody. So it's been worthwhile.
Yeah, I guess the players more than anyone needed that.
Well, it's just at the right time for us. I mean, we'd played a lot of games, and with the injury problems that we've had, the same players were playing week in and week out. So there's nothing quite like 4, 5, 6 days off to just recharge the batteries and get ready. And we've trained all week, and I think a lot of them have had a good time. So good.
Have you got some strikers back for the weekend?
Well, we're just going to assess whether it's a little bit early for Mutu and Dwight, the training, of course. The big problem we've got still, Andy's still not right, so that's a concern to us going forward. But we expected him to be okay, and unfortunately he's not. Everybody else is the same as what we are.
Is that more serious then, Andy's?
We don't think so. I mean, thankfully it's not his ankle, but this hip flexor, wherever it is he only gets to a certain level when he tries to his rehabilitation, and he's still not quite right. So we'll just have to keep monitoring it and see how he is.
How frustrating for you is it that he's just?
It's a big frustration because
since he arrived.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time just before Christmas when we were looking, and he's made a few assists and started a few games, and it's exactly why we brought him into the club. And unfortunately, he's picked up this injury, which is frustrating because all of a sudden it's drifted into 5-6 weeks when we expected it to be 10 days. So I'm sure he's as frustrated as we all are, but unfortunately he's got to try and get fit and hopefully be ready in a couple of weeks or whenever it'll be. We're not putting a time scale on it, just the way it is.
I guess a real relief for you then that Joelinton's injury is bad.
Yeah, fine. It was a knock. So, as I said, 4, 5, 6 days off for him. Almiron, the ones who've been at the pump constantly, they needed a break more than anybody. And they've come back. He's okay. It was a knock to him, and no fracture, so all okay.
There's obviously been so many question marks about him and about his lack of goals. But one thing he's been for you this season is a warrior, hasn't he? He's played.
Well, he trains every day, plays every day. He scored a good goal against Oxford. Yes, people will be cynical and say, yeah, it was against Oxford. He's made one, scored one. So let's hope. As we've said, he's only a young lad. And, I'm sure he'll still progress. But the one thing you can't level at him, he never shies away from it. He picks himself every week and trains every day. So, and the signs of improvement and signs of getting used to playing in England, which can only be a good thing.
Anyone else missing? Is Shelby still out?
Shelby's still out, unfortunately, but we don't think he's going to be too long. We're edging towards maybe another week, and we'll have another 4 or 5 back.
Yeah, it sounds as though you've got options, particularly in the wide areas where you've added the two.
Well, the two new boys come straight into the squad, of course, and they do give me options. And as a manager, the one thing you want is an option. Over the last few weeks, in particular, there's been no options. We've been paying people out of position and makeshift, if that's the right word. But to be fair to them, they've still stuck at it and managed to produce a few results. So all fair play to the squad.
You've said a number of times that over time you want to try and change the style here, and it will take time. Does the arrival of Lazaro on the right and Rose on the left, does that?
That gives first of all, it shows the quality of what we're trying to look for and trying to improve the squad. And as I've said many, many times now since I walked through the door, I won't just add to the squad for the sake of it. There have to be a certain quality which can improve us. And certainly Lazaro, Bentaleb and Danny Rose will certainly help us because of the quality. They've already seen it in the last week or so, let's hope they can take that onto the pitch now and prove it.
In terms of the way those two play, though, they're a bit more attacking.
Yeah, they're a bit more. Look, I don't have to explain what Danny Rose is. He's played for England only in September, so he's England's left back in many people's eyes. Probably between him and Chilwell, I would have thought. So, and he's desperate to go to the championships in the summer. So, we hope to see the best of him. And Lazaro's, if he settles down quickly and gets used to playing in England, then we know we've got a quality player on our hands who, hasn't quite worked out in Italy, but we're delighted we've got him.
And how crucial was that? The win against Oxford obviously came so late, but just to give people something to hang on.
It's look, we're in the next round. We get ready for West Brom. Looking back on the game and after watching it back, I didn't think we were in any trouble. But that's the cup. All of a sudden, they've scored a wonder goal with 8 minutes to go, and then they've scored another one. There wasn't a bad goal in the game, to be perfectly honest. But we made hard work of it than we should have done. But we're through. We got through until the last 16 or whatever it is, and let's look forward to West Brom in a few weeks.
I guess you could have only imagined how sort of negative things would have been. Sitting here today.
Well, we're always round the corner. When Newcastle, we're always round the corner from a bit of negativity. That's not going to change. So, look, let's be positive with it. We're in the last 16. We've got a great opportunity against West Brom, but we've got a couple of league games before that. So, back to business, and we play Arsenal, which is always one of the great occasions. Arsenal is still a wonderful club, and let's go and try and enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, and just finally for me, you've beaten Chelsea, you've beaten Spurs, you've gone against Man City, you've beaten Man United. You seem to have a thing for doing well against the big teams, albeit Arsenal struggling a little bit. Can you add them to the
I hope so. I hope so. We're going there, and the one thing we're resilient and be difficult to play against and difficult to beat, and we'll have to be all of them things. And of course, I've said many times, it's okay playing that way, but we have to cause a threat the other way too. And Alan can only do Alan the world of good as well. The goal that he scored, he looked, as if he's back to somewhere where we know after a horrible injury for him as well. So let's hope we can cause a few problems as well.
Steve, did the winter break give you a chance to take stock of the season?
It wasn't long enough to take stock, but it certainly. I think all the time you take stock of where you are. I never really, I only take it a couple of weeks at a time. So, the next step is over the next few weeks is where do we need improving, how do we improve, and how do we go forward. All of them things are always constantly. And it's not as easy as you think anymore, especially with transfer windows, because you only get a certain time to do what you have to do. And, so yes, we'll look forward to the summer, take stock, if that's the right word, and have a look at what we've done and what we've achieved. And we've got 13 games to go in the league, and got ourselves in a decent position, but it gives us the platform to have a decent season.
And level on points with Arsenal after 25 games, does that say more about your season or their season?
Well, it shows you how difficult it is, even in a big club like Arsenal, under, when in change. It's very, very difficult, and it just does not happen overnight. And even a club like Arsenal or Man U or whatever you want to do, a club in transition, is very difficult because you've got to try and get the right players, and if they're not available, and this, that, and the other, and it's not easy. So, but Arsenal are a great club with a big history and a big tradition, and it's always one of the big highlights for me anyway. Whether it was Highbury or the Emirates, to go and play against the Arsenal is always a bit special.
And of course the memories of that FA Cup final as well, always in the back of the mind.
Yeah, I try to erase it, but I've said many times it was a great occasion, and nearly, but not quite good enough. So, but yeah, one of the ones that you remember, and of course it was against Arsenal. And I remember after the game, if we had beaten them, I think Arsene Wenger was gone. So he took me over a cup of tea. So in that respect, I was pleased for him. But it just goes to show, how difficult it is to replace somebody like himself. And but as I've said many times, they're a great club.
Yeah, just on that, how difficult is it when you're in a period of transition, but you're also coming off the back of a manager who's been there so long and has stamped his style on the club in the way that Wenger did?
Well, when you're there for 20 odd years and you play with the style the way he played and the way they were, I mean, I would love to have a conversation of what changed him from, you know, the Arsenal team he had to start with to the one he finished with. It was, you know, a lot of people say it was Fabregas changed the whole style, if you like, but certainly he created 2 or 3 wonderful teams. And when you look back on it, I've said it many times, he's been the British coach. Arsene Wenger has been the one that I've always said has been. I think there's too many foreign coaches, you know, and Arsene Wenger's been the great one. And I think a lot of people have gone down that foreign route because of what Arsene Wenger achieved.
Emery's had his chance. Arteta now obviously in the hot seat. What have you made of what he's trying to do?
Well, it's only early for him, and as I've said, it's very difficult to change overnight. You know, you can see a difference, of course. Every manager will have the different style, but there'll always be a force to reckon with Arsenal. I'm convinced of that, and I wish Mikel the best of luck.
Thank you.
After that defeat to Arsenal at the start of the season, did you imagine this game would be 10th against 12th, level in points?
Well, I didn't think we'd be on level points, I have to tell you that, and I didn't think we'd win 2 more games than Arsenal, I would have to say. But it is the Premier League, and it is what it is, and even a mighty club like Arsenal, as I've just said, is transition the right word? Different style, different manager. So it shows you how difficult it is, even in a big club like Arsenal, of change and turn around. So no, I think to answer your question, probably not. No, I wouldn't have thought that would be possible, but here we are.
I do think a lot of fans, a lot of pundits will think that Newcastle have really done well to be on 30.
I think we've done. I think we've done okay. I think we've done okay. We've had huge problems over the last 6 weeks, and fair play to the squad for showing that resilience that they've shown in many, many games. It can't be a fluke, not over 25 games anyway. That, you know, that they have a certain resilience about them and a certain pride about them, which is there pretty evident every day they train and play. They're a good set who roll up their sleeves and make sure they have a go. And when you've got a team like that, then you've always got a chance.
So do you allow yourself to look up the table where you could go with?
I think that the closer do we get towards the magical points tally, then we can maybe have a look. But until we get there, and I'm sure there's still 10 clubs still looking over their shoulder, and we have to be one of them. You know, we're not blasé enough to say we've done enough. We haven't just yet. We've still got a quarter of the season to go, a third of the season, so all to play for.
And just finally, the 2 questions that really rumble on and probably will for some time is: any update on takeover? Any update on? No update from me. No, nothing as far as I'm concerned. Any update on what transfers? No contracts.
Contracts. Again, they're ongoing. They keep being ongoing, and you're going to ask the same week, as I've said many times now. I hope that we can get the 2 of them tied up. But players these days have their own prerogative too, so we have to respect that as well.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers. Thanks. Thank you.
You said, so we talked about